So hello everyone, I'm Simran and we were given the same task as the previous team, but we will discuss our implementation of XGridZ. So our team is made up of 5 members, including myself as project manager. So I organize the roadmap of the project, and we have Sarah as Scrum Master who organizes the project details, and then Danielle, our quality assurance, also our graphic designer, and then Jose, our developer who researched different technology being used, and then Paul, our senior developer who guided us on the technical side. That being said, we all contribute to the code to develop this project. So we'll start off with an introduction, but before we begin, I want to cover a vocabulary that we'll be using in our presentation. We will be talking about AAC. So this stands for Augmentative and Alternative Communication. So AAC can consist of tools, system, devices, or strategies that completely replace or support natural speech. This is made for people who have difficulties communicating using speech. And we are focusing on accommodating children who have a developmental disability that has affected their development of speech. So at the start of last semester, we were given a problem to develop a product that allowed for flexibility in creating quizzes when it came to the number of rows and columns in a grid, and was appropriate for distant learning. So to solve this problem, we wanted XGridZ to be distant learning friendly and to add features where the quizzes can be more easily customizable. So to give a quick overview of our product, XGridZ is an augmentative and alternative communication learning, allowing instructors to create custom grid quizzes for each student to help develop and improve their skills, and also help instructors with their next steps in their educational plan. And it's easily accessible to both students and instructors through a website and functional for both in-person and distant learning. And our target audience is nonverbal or partially nonverbal children ages 4 to 9. So now we'll go over the market overview, explaining what already exists in the market. So before we started developing our product, we did market research of what's currently available for AAC products. And first, we have our worksheets, which are an in-person only experience where instructors will print out paper worksheets and then distribute them to students. And then second, we have Touch Chat. This is a communication platform that helps people who struggle with verbal communication, but it's not an evaluation tool, and it's only available for iOS devices. And then lastly, there is AAC Genie. This is an AAC diagnostic tool, but the issues with AAC Genie are its lack of customization features like choosing number of rows and columns, and it's also only available on iPad. So after reviewing our market research, we came up with a specific solution we wanted to implement. We wanted to provide a no contact way of doing intake or checkup evaluations with custom quizzes. So the instructor will be able to choose the number of rows or columns in the quiz, and then also the number of questions per quiz. They should also be able to upload their own custom image while still having a default option. And this solution allows for flexible learning and helps students to expand their knowledge and skills. So now we'll go into our design approach. So when deciding whether we wanted to create a web page or an app, we made sure to keep in consideration our demographic. So XGridZ is a diagnostic tool meant to evaluate children with special needs. And we came to the conclusion that a majority of them would have access to a device with a browser that rather than a specific mobile device like an iPad. And AAC Genie and worksheets both require students to be present with the instructor in order to take the evaluation on the instructor device. And this year, more than ever, we see the benefits of making academic tools and resources easily accessible from home. So after weighing our options, a web-based application seemed like the best option. So we first developed a minimum viable product, and these are the semantics for that. So as you can see here, the user will be able to enter their desired values for grid quizzes and number of questions and choose whether they would like to upload their own target image. Then the student will take the quiz, identifying the target image, and then lastly, the results for the total score, and each individual quiz will be displayed. So how do we make this happen? So the coding languages that we use for our MVP are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We also created custom designed images of animals that we are using in our project. And now I'll pass it over to Sarah to show our demos.
Hello, my name is Sarah. Can everybody hear me good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go over some demos of our MVP. I'm going to go over our first demo. Okay, so what you're going to see here is our first demo. The user is going to be able to select their desired number of rows and columns for the grid, and also their desired number of questions. On submit, you're going to see our default quiz that we have. It's going to ask you to identify the target image, which our default is a squirrel, and it says, where is the squirrel? So the user will have to try to correctly identify the target image throughout the quiz. And then at the end of the quiz, once it is turned in, you will see the results, both overall results and individual results for each question. We're going to go over our second demo. So the difference between our first demo and our second demo is highlighting the ability for the user to upload their own custom image. So you'll see them entering the values again as before, but this time they're going to choose to upload their own image. It looks like they're choosing a cricket, and they're also going to be able to name that image. So now when they submit it, it will no longer ask where's a squirrel, but it will ask where's the cricket, and the user will have to try and correctly identify the custom uploaded target image. And then just like the last one, as the quiz is finished, the total results and each individual question results will be displayed. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about implementing shareholder requests next. And you just saw a demo of our MVP, which includes our key mechanic, which was creating custom sizing grids and being able to upload your own picture for the grids. And our MVP was demoed to a company named Smartbox by our professor, Chaya, Smartbox makes assistive technology. And we received a few requests for new features that should be added from Smartbox and also from our professor. And these features were the ability to save user settings and also data exportation of user results. We accommodated these requests by adding a user sign up and login system so data can be tied to these accounts. And we also included a dashboard where instructors can manage their students. And we implemented the ability to assign a custom grid to multiple students as well. Lastly, we began storing the students' results of their quizzes, so later we can use it for exportation purposes. Here is a visualization of those implementations I just talked about. As you can see, that is our new dashboard feature displayed in the upper left-hand corner. And our new dashboard feature is integrated through our new login and sign-up pages, which you'll see some snippets of on the bottom left of the slide. And if you look back at the dashboard, you'll also notice that the student scores are available to view for the teacher. And lastly, as you can see in the image in the upper right-hand corner, when creating the grid, we will now have the ability to assign one to multiple students that are in the teacher dashboard. Next, I'm going to talk about our database. Okay, why include a database? Well, applying a database for XGridZ was something we always knew was important. And here I'm going to focus on the top 3 advantages and how they tie in with our product. So with the database, data can be accessed with any device. And one of our main goals is to have XGridZ work from any location and any device. This way, students and instructors do not have to be in the same room. They do not have to use the same device. And students are also able to take their own convenient times. The next added advantage is that the database will conveniently store the most up-to-date information. So with XGridZ, instructors can create new assignments at any time and students can take the quizzes on their own time. With any learning tool, the goal is to develop and improve new skills. Teachers can evaluate student progress from diagrams made with the data that's being collected from students completing their assigned quizzes. And teachers can see if there's any room for improvement and make further decisions for each student. So the database that we decided to apply is Google Firebase. And we decided to use Firebase just because of its usability. It offers many features and it's well documented, allowing us to be able to focus on adding more functionalities to XGridZ rather than being caught up in learning how to use a database. Also, its efficiency in handling large amounts of data. No matter how large our user base becomes, we're not going to have to worry about outgrowing our database, managing servers, or anything like that. And also authentication. With Firebase, our sign up and login service is easy for the user and it keeps their data secure. Firebase will keep track of the users who are logged in and logged out of the website, and it stores their information seamlessly and securely. It has a NoSQL structure. And with the NoSQL structure, all of the data is stored in collections and documents, which we thought was very well suited for our teacher-student relationships and our data. And on the right here, we have an overview of how Firebase works with our application. We can see that at the bottom, it's kind of cyclical, where the teacher will create and assign the quizzes to the student will take them, and the results will be updated through our database back into the teacher dashboard for them to view. So with the database, we now have access to data analytics. And here we have two representations on how data could be visualized. So the first one is a representation of the number of students that are scoring below 60% on any given quiz 1 and or quiz 2. And the second one includes data about the age ranges of the students using XGridZ, and it's broken into categories of different age intervals. I'm going to cover security next. So a security concern from our website can be from the exposure of sensitive data or user credentials and unsecured backups. So like I said before, we're using Google Firebase. So our database is secured through Google. They have their own encryption settings, but we were concerned about unsecured backups of our database. And then another concern would be the abuse of website services that can lead to spam accounts. So our solutions to these problems are implementing a CAPTCHA at the time of user sign up and login, and also encrypting our backups. So here are the two solutions that we just talked about. The first one being the login page, which just implements a basic CAPTCHA. And the next one is our backup encryption. So Firebase has a simple way of implementing this by using something called Cloud Scheduler, which allows us to schedule a backup of our database, which gets stored in something called a cloud bucket. And we decided to schedule our backup at midnight every day, which will help us keep everything secure and have the most accurate data backed up. Lastly, I'm going to go over the current status of our project. So throughout the development of XGridZ, our stakeholder, whether it was Smartbox, the company that we demoed to, or our professor, had multiple requests that we had to satisfy. And here we're going to go over an overview of the requests and an overview of our solutions, as we just showed in the presentation. So first, we have customization features. Creating customization features was basically the key mechanic for our project. And we implemented this with sizable grids and a photo upload feature. The ability to save user settings, that was made possible by our database, which makes our product distance learning friendly. And the security of sensitive data, that's ensured by using Google Firebase and as well as encrypting our backups. And then lastly, one of the most important requests was that our product should be distance learning friendly. And once COVID hit, many businesses weren't able to continue with their projects that they were working on. However, with XGridZ, we would be able to push our product live because we did take into consideration the current situation. So thank you for listening to our presentation. And with that, I'm going to open it up to Q&A.
A very thorough presentation. I liked how you walked us through all the different charts. You had good headings there. I did have a question. You did touch on the data diagrams and the visualization. Is that all integrated in? So you're getting those reports out, or is that a future feature?
No, so that would be a future feature. Basically, we had the database completely set up, so we were able to query our database in JavaScript, and then we took the information that we got through those queries and we created graphs out of them.
Okay, so you had the raw data already available, and so
Yes.
that got it. Very nicely done.
Thank you.
Yes, I did too find it helpful, the walkthrough of decisions and why you chose certain things. And you also at the front had a slide with who did what, but then mentioned that everyone participated in the programming activity. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of curious if you can comment on how you distributed that as a team and how you stayed connected. You know, when everyone's doing coding, sometimes it can be a challenge to really merge all that. So could you speak to your experience?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was the scrum master of the project. So I was basically in charge of making everybody was doing their job and managing everything. And so for communication purposes, we basically had meetings. We would meet through Zoom so we could share our screen and stuff. And then for Scrum, we used Trello. And then to touch on who did what individually, we really did, for a part, follow the roles that we were given. Like our product manager did a great job, Simran, at creating the meetings and making sure like it was at a time everybody could go. If it wasn't at a time everybody could go, she would meet individually with us and catch us up on what was going on. And then I was our scrum master, so I worked very closely with her to make sure everything was going smoothly. As for our senior developer, Paul, he really pulled through for us because at the beginning, none of us knew HTML or CSS or JavaScript. And so he really carried the heavy brunt of the programming in the beginning. And we used GitHub for our version control. So he went ahead and set that up for us. And we all learned how to use GitHub if we didn't already know how to manage our version control. So he basically set up the outline of our project, and he worked with all of us, giving us resources so we could learn and keep up to date like on what he was doing. And then we would break up small tasks for the rest of us to do, like adding a feature, adding the custom upload image feature, or adding the ability to assign it to multiple students and things like that. And then so that's basically how we handled coding. Like our senior developer did most of it in the beginning. And then once we all kind of caught up with knowledge, we would break it up into feature edition. Like we would have a group of 2 people working on one feature and a group of another 2 people working on another feature. And yeah, and then our QA, Danielle, of course, made these very adorable pictures that you're seeing on the screen right now, which are our own custom made proprietary images that we can use. And yeah, let me know if you have anything else that I didn't cover.
No, that was a very thorough response and well done, and nice artistry on the images as well. You guys got to try out the full range of software development, and the art part of it was included in yours as well. What a great experience for you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, totally agree. And so it's a very beautiful work and by integrating art and programming and also learning something new. Well, again, thank you, team, and thank you for the presentation. And also, I want to give a special thanks and to Professor Kaja, and so who provide tremendous amount of time and to this project.